It was weird. It was uncanny.
You came up with the idea.
I did, yeah. But like almost kind of on a whim. It wasn't on purpose. Like I was trying to come up with an idea. It was like, two guys have a investigation into a serial bank robber, and they chase him around, and like that was kind of it.
It came together really, really quickly. I think it was maybe an hour, and we had the whole thing.
Yeah, probably. We had the entire plot.
Yeah, every character. That's not normal.
No.
Yeah, that's not normal that things come together that fast. That was kind of like just a flash of electricity. You want me to start with that one?
This one's you, because I didn't know what the movie was going to be called.
Yeah,
when you handed me the first draft.
That was really the only thing that was a surprise.
Yeah.
When it was like, all right, like I'll try and get the first draft. The Golden Boys is just about this conspiracy group, and for some weird reason, there's a lot of members who love the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And that came because I used to be a part of the Morrowind group, Morrowind the Elder Scrolls 3 game. Yeah. And a lot of people in that group were MacGyver fans for some weird reason that I don't know about. So yeah, that's how I came up with that idea. Like, hey, it'd be funny if these conspiracy theory people loved the Golden Girls, which would make as much sense as all these Morrowind people loving MacGyver.
We had this idea in mind, with you in mind, and we were going to try and shoot it with Hans playing Hans and you playing Antho. So initially, the idea was just like this, wild kind of manic person that's kind of your normal personality, and it's very different from my personality. You didn't have the availability to be able to do the entire film. It took us maybe like a month and a half, maybe 2 months to shoot it. So I stepped in, and I think that I just decided, like, let's keep the character's name though, because like we wrote it with you in mind. This is kind of more like how you would have played it.
Yeah, it was super confusing for Hans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The total budget was under $700. I think it was like 680 something, 690 something.
That sounds right.
The most expensive set piece was the map in Antho's room.
Yeah.
Getting the printouts for that wall was, I think, upwards of $200. And then the smokehouse, we got to rent it for a couple of hours, and that cost about as much as the map did.
Yeah.
The biggest limitation was we didn't have a DP, a cinematographer, and we didn't have a sound engineer. And that wasn't from lack of trying either. That was one of the first things that you and me were trying to secure was a sound guy, and then we were trying to get a cinematographer too. And I feel like I even remember there being someone who was like showing interest and then kind of just flaked, and we never heard from them again. And that happens, So we ended up just kind of pushing forward. No cinematographer, no sound guy, and we just kind of did the best we could.
Yeah. I mean, the real answer is everything,
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, there were a couple of scenes. For me, the ones that were scary for me, there's a scene, it's just like an insert shot of me looking out the window. I had a Gorilla Pod attached to my camera, but I had it on the side view mirror, and it was just balancing on that while the car was driving. And I was terrified that the camera was going to fall. And then another insert shot where I was getting the wheel, getting the tire while we were driving. I had to like hang outside of a moving car with with my camera in my hand.
I mean, there was like that chance of being arrested.
Yeah, that comes up.
I thought that was the scary stuff.
Me and Hans had these bags of cocaine. Like, we just shot it on the side of the road,
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, let's just do it really fast. And that way, we could just get out of here real quick. We don't want, someone driving by and seeing us with, like, these 3 prop bags of cocaine. And then, like, Hans goes to, like, put the cocaine on me, and it gets all over him, and it gets all over his car, and it's all over the street. And it's like, well, we didn't get the shot, and now there's cocaine everywhere. And so we had to, like, clean it up really quick, and people were driving by. like we're filming in public on public streets, and Daniel's dressed like a cop.
Yeah,
it's like we're filming a movie, but at first glance, it looks like it's like some dude's dressed like a cop.
Yeah, anyone who drove past was driving past really slow.
I mean, we got the smokehouse because we paid. We rented it, but like something like maybe 65% of the film was shot at one location, and we just kind of played with it to make it look like it was multiple locations. But the house, Catherine's house, has also a guest house. That guest house was Thor's house. Their driveway and their street in front of their house ended up being the location for like a bunch of our car stuff. Like anytime we were parked, it was one of those locations. So we were all just in that one location for a good portion of the filming.
Yeah, and one of the funny things about the driveway was we had like somebody's SUV, and then we put LED lights under to make it look like a police car.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that in the actual street because we figured that would really get us in trouble. But like I taped the LED lights on there, and I was like, I've worked with tape quite a bit, so I was about 99% sure it wasn't gonna rip the paint off the car. But tearing that tape off, I was so relieved that I was correct, and it didn't tear any paint off of the car. How did you do the hammer throw?
Okay, so I have a green screen, and I set it up with this backdrop frame. On the floor, I put a camera going straight up into the green screen, and I was just letting go of the hammer. I think there's only maybe one usable take. Like it's more difficult than it sounds. And one of the times I dropped the hammer right on the lens, and like in the footage you could see me get all pissed off, like I didn't know if I damaged my camera. It's like this is the camera I've been using like for like half the film, and I don't have a replacement one.
It's weird because I actually remember throwing it myself and then retrieving it myself. Like I don't actually have any memory of like the cuts. I just thought I did it. My only contribution to the music?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good contribution.
Yeah.
It was your idea to have Officer Foster's theme be kind of like a cowboy type.
Yeah. I don't think I came up with that exact riff, but I came up with something kind of like that-ish.
The style.
Yeah. And that was the beginning and end of my music career.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky in that our brother is classically trained pianist, and he's a brilliant musician. And a lot of the songs, a lot of the music that I use in all of my stuff, and that you use in some of your stuff, is just stuff that he lets us use. He's gracious enough to let us use. But we actually went to his place. The three of us spent all day just working on the sound and working on the music for this movie. I don't know if it would have occurred to me before we got up there that there were a couple of voices that we didn't have, like radio voices or the drive-through voice. So Joey, the musician, he actually does the voice of Gary.
Hey, Hans. Ah, jeez, Hans.
No.
Aw, jeez.
And also the Jack in the Box drive-through guy.
You guys have anything for free?
For free?
Yeah, I was at Taco Bell the other day, and
We're not Taco Bell, sir.
Okay.
I think I do the radio.
You do the radio,
Yeah, the radio announcer.
The Billy Goat Bandit has struck again. This'll make his 7th bank in 7 days.
So yeah, we got all the music because Joey is an awesome musician.
Yeah.
Robert and Daniel just liked the script. It was Blanche's Beau and Officer Foster. They really liked the script, so they wanted to be a part of it just because they thought it was funny. Beyond that, I feel like a lot of it kind of happened by mistake.
Yeah, because you played Antho, which is what I was supposed to play.
Right.
You were just available.
Yeah.
And then Hans played Hans, which was...
That was supposed to, yeah.
Yeah, but Hans is our cousin, so that's sort of how we got Hans. And then Bree played Catherine.
Yeah.
And Bree's your wife.
Yeah.
That's how we got Bree.
But we wrote it with her in mind, too.
Yes.
But we tried to get somebody else, and there was an actress that showed some interest, and she ended up not being available.
Yeah.
So like Brie ended up, and that's how Brie ends up in a lot of my movies, is that, you know, an actress ends up either not being available or like dropping out, and then Brie kind of jumps in.
Yeah.
And that was sort of similar to what happened with Thor, with the character you played.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to be Thor. I thought there was a chance I was going to be Thor.
Yeah.
But
like
I actually didn't know I was going to be Thor. I was running around setting up props, doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, suit up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, glad I brought, you know,
Yeah.
some clothes that like kind of suits the character, because I didn't know I was going to play it.
I was like, do you know the lines? And we had someone else that we wanted to play Thor, and he ended up not being available. So yeah, that was it. That was
Yeah.
shoot day, is
Yeah.
when you found out you were going to be Thor.
So yeah, half the cast was intentional.
Yeah.
You know, Hans, Robert, and Daniel were intentional
Yeah.
in the parts that they got, and the other half was just everybody.
Accidental.
Yeah. Just,
I didn't. I ruined so many takes by cracking up at something that they would, like, Hans and Daniel and Robert are all really good at improv, and whenever they'd come up with something, I'd have such a difficult time keeping a straight face. And then you too, like, you behind the camera.
yeah, I was cameraman during the scene that Daniel's kind of telling Hans to roll the window down.
Yeah.
And I remember like Daniel kind of come up and be like, "How'd it look?" I was like, I had to walk away from the camera. Like, I set it up, I was watching it, and then I started laughing. I had to walk away from the camera so I didn't ruin the shot.
Yeah, almost every single person in the movie came up with something or improvised something that ended up in the final cut of the film. It's a very talented group.